Today we're going to be talking about constipation. Are you full of it? I don't know. Listen and find out. Welcome to episode 3 of Naked Talk. Constipation, or poop and digestion in general, is something that a lot of people don't talk about. But we're going to be covering a different area of whole health each week here on Naked Talk, and let you know how you can apply the information that you're going to hear on here from either me or a health professional to your life. So it'll really be a combination of me sharing my personal experiences and knowledge that I've learned along the way or as a holistic health coach, and also bringing in a guest or health and wellness professional to expand on the topic. I really want to talk about things that people are struggling with and they're just not sure where to go for help, whether they're overwhelmed or embarrassed or just don't know where to start. So I really hope that you will stick around as we cover different topics. The topic in an episode may not pertain to you, but you may know someone who can benefit from it, or keep listening because chances are one of the episodes are going to be something that you can apply to your life, and maybe you know and you can improve on it, or something you had no clue about. A lot of times things are affecting our health that we don't realize are connected. I want to say first that this is for informational purposes only. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any illness or disease. You always want to consult your healthcare professional and inform him or her when you're making changes to your lifestyle pertaining to your health. And as a holistic health coach, I show my clients ways to integrate their health and life with their business or career so that they can actually enjoy the success they've worked so hard to achieve. And I really hope that you can take some of this and apply it to your life as well. And I like to say all the time, all areas of our life are connected, especially our profession or business, and it affects the other areas. We just can't compartmentalize any one area and not expect it to eventually affect the other areas of our life. I really have a heart for bringing up the topics that many are suffering from and they're not talking about. This can be oftentimes for many reasons, whether they just don't know where to look, or they're overwhelmed or embarrassed or ashamed or actually scared to get the information and understand that it's something they need to do. And whether we're scared to take a risk, or we have a fear of failing, or just the work that it takes, or sometimes it sounds kind of crazy, but a lot of times, and I can attest to this for different seasons in my life, it's fear of having that problem or issue addressed and actually living on the other side of that, even if it's positive. Human mind is so amazing. Those are just some things about it that sometimes these fears creep up on us and we don't even realize it. So back to the topic today. Constipation. Are you full of it? So it's not like we're talking about our poop and asking how many times our coworkers or friends or family are even going during the day. So a lot of times we don't know what that normal or healthy is, right? So we're growing up with either healthy digestion or not. And as we get older and we're exposed to even more toxins in the environment and stressors and schedules change, it just keeps getting worse and worse until these symptoms start appearing. And then that's a whole other can of worms that we're opening, because we may address the symptoms versus getting to the root cause. So many are taught also that potty talk or anything related to digestive functions is rude and inappropriate. And honestly, as a parent, I still don't like my girls saying even the word fart. Like, ew, that's really gross. But see what I mean? Like, I don't even, I'm still like that. And even though I talk about digestion, so it's something that it's really not something we talk about a lot. So I hope to change that and start those conversations. So let's get ready for some potty talk. So what is constipation? If you're having an infrequent bowel movement or basically pooping, that's a great sign. So what is infrequent? So it can vary, but really 1 to 3 is usually ideal, and it's better if you go on the side of twice a day, depending on how much you've eaten that day. So really think about it. You eat, your body takes what it needs from your food, and then the rest becomes waste. And you want to get rid of that waste because you don't want it to stay in your body any longer than it has to. But before I do that and we go further, I want to share a story because we all know as far back in time, we were storytellers. People told stories and we passed it down. They passed it down to family members, and that's how people learned. So I love to be able to share experiences and how I either wasn't successful with stuff that I did or things that did work, and I'll be bringing in stories from other people, and you might relate to that. So in episode 1, I mentioned that I was looking for love in all the wrong places, and it wasn't always that my boyfriends were necessarily bad, but it was that I was looking to them to try to fulfill something that I needed to really uncover and get to the root cause of that issue with. So obviously that didn't work because you can't look to someone else to feel validated and to have that acceptance. But going back to that, so in one of those relationships, the reason I'm sharing this is that in one of those relationships, I also shared how my dad died my freshman year of college, and our family went through some crazy times. And as the episodes go on, I'm sure I'll be sharing pieces of that. But basically, I became close with my boyfriend's family. I just craved that belonging. And I was in Corpus Christi. I didn't have any other family there. And I just wanted that. So I did become close with them, and they took me in as their own. And I even moved in with them. And my boyfriend at the time and his brother lived in kind of like a little garage apartment in the back. It was 2 little rooms in there, and guess where the bathroom was? It was in his brother's room. So you can imagine how that went. So picture being in college, 2 brothers, both have girlfriends, and you just want some privacy. So when nighttime came around, that door was locked. And so if I had to go to the restroom after that, I would have to go into his parents' house and use the restroom, which they didn't mind. But, and I'll get into this later in the episode, I had a thing about going to the restroom in public. I still do, y'all. Like, I have to catch myself and say, it is okay. We're in a public restroom, especially now that I drink so much water. Currently, I'm drinking around a gallon a day, and I have to use the restroom if I'm away from the house. So I make myself overcome that. But growing up, I never went in school. If I had to poop or go number 2, I just wouldn't go. I would hold it. And that's one of the things that can lead to constipation. So getting back to that, I wouldn't go and I would hold it a lot. I was just embarrassed, So, but it got so bad that I started getting these really bad pains. And I was, nowhere as healthy as I am today, but I was active and I would eat kind of healthy. I did drink some water, and I just didn't know what was going on. And I would get this pain, and it was so bad that I actually went to the ER, and I will never forget. So we had this lady working there at the ER, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm having all this pain. And she kind of examined me and pushed on my stomach, and I was like, oh yes, that it hurts there. So I will never forget her reaction when she looked at my x-ray. She said, okay now, honey, well, look, honey, you're just full of shit. That's your problem. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was freaked out. And she showed me in the x-ray, and yeah. So I guess going back to the title, I was full of it. And it's kind of a funny thing and embarrassing, but it's also very serious because it's not meant to stay in our bodies that long, and it can lead to problems. And like I said, I've never liked pooping in public, and I would hold it. That led to all kinds of problems. But even stress and diet and lack of movement can be things that lead up to constipation. So now that I've shared a little bit about my embarrassing poop stories, here's some other things about constipation and how to know if you are constipated. We already went over if you have infrequent bowel movements, but you may also be straining to pass your stool. So this is something, if you think about it, it's so commonplace, but it's the wrong idea around the whole, like I want to call like potty or poop protocol. You probably remember your dad, reading the newspaper or a magazine in the bathroom, and I still go to people's homes and they'll have a basket with newspapers or crossword puzzles or magazines. That is not good because it's showing that, one, you've got enough time to read something or even skim it while you're in the bathroom. And I also think of that movie, This Is 40. On the cover, it has Paul Rudd, in where he is sitting on the toilet and has his tablet or device, there. But that's true. I mean, you might be listening to this on the toilet, or you probably go in the toilet and you go to the bathroom and you have your device in your hand. I would do that too, and I've had to break myself of that because I would see my kids taking their device in the bathroom and say, guys, you don't take that in there, you need to focus. So I had to hold myself accountable for that too, but my point of that is not the place for that. You need to go in there, focus on what you need to do, which is get rid of the waste in your body, and you shouldn't be in there that long. So if you're straining to pass a stool, that could be a sign that you might be constipated. Also, if your poop is hard, pellet-like, or incomplete stools, and it's not coming out all the way, that could be something else that is letting you know you might be constipated. There's something called the Bristol Stool Chart, and I'll put that link in the show notes. My youngest daughter, she was, I think, 6 at the time. I've been talking about this for some time now on my blog, but we did a Facebook Live, and she's showing the Bristol Stool Chart and talking about lemon water in the mornings. But it is something that's a very basic chart that you can look at if you are like me and you're visual, you need to see something, you can see what the different types of stools look like. So that's something to check out. And once again, I'll have that in the show notes. So those are some things that give us a sign that we are constipated. But what does an ideal bathroom experience look like? Well, ideally, like I said, you want to pass 1 to 3 stools a day, preferably at least 2. It can have a slight odor, but it should not be overwhelming. Because think about it, the longer that stool sits in your body, the more time it has to putrefy, and then it'll accumulate different things in it, and it'll give off a smell. So that's where that smell's coming from. And it should look like a medium brown in color. Of course, it can vary depending on what you've eaten or certain things that maybe you're taking, supplements like that, but it should be a really medium brown color. And it should be long and log-like pieces. So, oh my gosh, y'all, I just thought, so I don't know if you think about this, but whenever I say long log-like pieces, I think of the Lincoln Logs that we used to play with. That's kind of what it should look like. You should not strain, and there shouldn't be a delay. So, once again, you shouldn't have time to be scrolling on your Facebook or your Instagram or whatever that is, or catching up. You should be go in there, focus, get her done, and get out. Something that I love, I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's called the squatty potty. And this has been really cool. It's basically helping, once again, that poop or potty protocol where you shouldn't be hunched over. You should have really good posture, because think about it. You don't want your colon kind of kinked up when you're wanting stuff to come out. And before toilets were invented and things like that, people would just squat. My husband traveled a lot, and he's lived in Indonesia and Australia and all over a lot of different countries. But in some of those areas, they still just like squat. Or, when you went camping, you would just I think it's called cop a squat. But actually that's really good because you're giving your body a better position to release your waste in an easier way. So maybe check that out. I'll put a link in the show notes as well for that. But at the very least, even if you don't have that, it is something that goes around the base of your toilet, and it just kind of keeps your feet up and forces you to sit properly. But just sit up straight. You don't need to be leaning forward. Get that device out of your hand, sit up straight, and you'll have better success for that. So there's some tips on how to make a better bathroom experience, and also how to know if there is something going on. So like I mentioned before, once again, this is about true holistic whole health, right? So there might be other things that you are not even associating with your poop. Like, what does that have to do with my poop? But stress is one of those things that if we have too much stress in our life, it will begin to affect our gut, and You'll hear me say this time and time again in future episodes. Health begins in our gut. It is so important. The gut and brain are connected. It just has to do with a lot of issues that we have going on. So stress is a factor, environmental toxins, which even if we're very careful to reduce those, we are still exposed to them. And like I said, holding it, not going, all of those things factor in. So the more you can do to reduce those things, lack of movement. So if you have a desk job or you sit a lot, you really want to get up. You want to stretch. You want to walk around. Pull yourself away from the desk and give yourself that break. Take the stairs if you can at work. Park a little bit further. Some of this you've heard of, but do you implement it? Do you really think about the amount of time that you're sedentary? Because that not only affects your digestion, but then your overall health. Something that I like to do on the days when I don't train at the gym is actually just starting with some stretches and then some squats. That can get your digestion working. You want to, in the morning, if you're a coffee drinker, try to get some. I know it's hard. I don't drink coffee. I do have tea every now and then, but I have a lot of friends and family who do drink coffee every day. So I've tried to encourage them to just have a little bit of warm water. You can add lemon in there as well before you have your coffee, just to kind of get things going. So those are some things that you can do to move towards a more healthy digestion and just feel better about your day. You have more energy. So try some of those things if you are experiencing constipation and see what helps. Once again, listen to your body, become your own health advocate, and work with your healthcare professional to achieve optimum health. Now, if you're having more than, I would say, mild constipation, of course, always consult your healthcare professional. But there are also things that you can do that will give you more success when you're addressing all areas of your health and your body. Something I do want to touch on, because this is what I come across a lot in clients of mine and just people that I talk to, is they think, oh, I'm just going to do a detox or a cleanse. Well, is that better than just eating crap all the time? Yes, but a lot of times, if our body, depending how toxic our other organs are, if we do a detox or cleanse, we can actually get backed up, and that can lead to even more problems. So I do want to encourage you to really take the time to find out what you're doing and why. There are protocols you can do where you're starting with cleansing your colon and then your kidney and your liver. I will put a link to some great books and resources that I've found in the show notes as well. Because once again, put it this way, if it's a quick fix, that's not going to be the best sustainable way to whole health. So if it's something, I know here there's a commercial in Houston, a lot of people hear, and it sounds good. And what they say is true, the things that it helps you with, get more energy and things like that. But it's a juice cleanse, But the way they make it sound is that you can just keep living your life and doing these things and buy this juice cleanse and everything will be fine. And yes, of course, you might lose a little bit of weight in the beginning because you're flushing out some of those things, but it's a sustainable changes that we're looking for long-term whole health. So I do encourage you to really look into things that you're doing and also why. I will say this again and again. It's not just getting to the symptom or finding out what's causing that symptom, but why. Why am I constipated? Why is my thyroid not behaving the way it should? If you keep asking why and go upstream, meaning further back into why these things are happening, you will have a lot more success. So I hope you learned a little bit more about poop and digestion, if you are full of it or not. If you're not full of it, congratulations. You are a huge step above most people, especially Americans, because most of us follow the SAD, I like to call it, standard American diet of highly processed foods and sugar. We don't drink enough water. And we'll be diving into ways in future episodes that you can change that if you are on the SAD diet train there. And let me know what you want to hear about. I would love to hear if you've tried things and have been successful. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. You can leave a review as well. And find me on my Instagram and Facebook. I like to share some of the behind the scenes of what goes on in my life as a wife, parent, entrepreneur, friend, and just a busy woman trying to fit it all in and do it in a healthy way. I'm still on my journey as well, just like you are, and we're all at different parts of that journey. So sharing and seeing that people are going through life and struggling with the same things we are, but also overcoming them really helps just to build that community. So I look forward to the next episode, and remember, healthy mind, body, business. Bye.